Here's the thing. He is 57 years old. He will be 58 when they fight. He has had a long fighting career. He has been knocked out by massive men like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. You know, he's had a lot of blows. And he's also doing this very unique kind of training with electrical muscular stimulation.
So now we don't want you to back out the block. And I told you before, that was easy work. I just feel like he's a tough competitor. A-level far as being able to market him and can he be a household name? Probably in due time, but right now, he's a B-level fighter. Probably a B-.
The sports world is on fire as the highly anticipated clash between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul continues to build massive buzz, with everyone from Joe Rogan to Floyd Mayweather weighing in on what could happen when two completely different generations collide in the ring. Rogan brings his martial arts background and analyst mindset, while Mayweather leans on decades of boxing dominance, together painting a fascinating picture of just how unpredictable the showdown really is. Meanwhile, Jake Paul isn't backing down. Despite being only a few years into his boxing career, he claims he's fully prepared for Tyson's explosive style. Paul insists he's been sharpening his timing and awareness, saying he expects Tyson to come out fast looking for an early knockout, but warns that rushing could be a costly mistake against someone who can counter just as hard. Paul has also taken shots at Tyson's fight rules, pointing out that Tyson pushed for shorter rounds in specific conditions. Still, Jake says he's accepted everything, entering what he calls Tyson's playground, confident he can shock the world. Behind the confidence, though, there's tension at home. Paul admitted even his own mother is worried after seeing Tyson's intense training clips, constantly checking if he's truly ready for what's coming. His family is expected ringside, but the concern is real. The build-up is only intensified after the fight was delayed from its original date, frustrating fans and adding more heat to an already controversial matchup. While Paul dismisses critics who doubt the fight's legitimacy or value, others in the boxing world remain unconvinced it will even happen. Former champion Sean Porter has openly questioned the logic of the matchup, suggesting the chances of Tyson stepping into the ring with Paul may be slimmer than fans hope, fueling even more uncertainty around an event already surrounded by skepticism. Yet despite all doubt, controversy, and debate, the fight remains scheduled, leaving one burning question hanging in the air. When these two generations finally collide, will it be history in the making or a moment the boxing world never sees coming?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We're not going to ever see Mike Tyson get in the ring with Jake Paul.
Okay, so
I don't know about that.
You don't know?
Money talks.
Look, he said.
I don't know about that, bro.
You look like you dreaded it, though.
Meanwhile, the excitement surrounding Mike Tyson's return continues to explode across the boxing world, with even Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, adding his voice to the growing hype. Although Fury's Instagram story has now expired, his message was loud and clear. He couldn't wait to see the living legend back in the ring. Can't wait to see the living legend with boxing gloves again, Fury wrote, sharing a clip from Most Valuable Promotions that featured Tyson in full intensity mode. In the video, Tyson delivers a chilling message aimed at his doubters. If anyone thinks he's too old for this fight, they should say it to his face. The clip quickly went viral, reigniting debate about whether the former undisputed heavyweight champion is truly stepping back into his prime, or risking too much, too late. The conversation only grew louder after Tyson appeared on an Impulsive podcast alongside Logan Paul and Mike Majlak, where he didn't shy away from the pressure. When asked about the criticism surrounding his return, Tyson made his stance brutally clear. He's not here to convince anyone, only to fight. At a recent press conference, Tyson once again showed flashes of the old Iron Mike, warning that once he lands cleanly, the fight will be over quickly. As soon as I catch this guy, it's going to be totally over, he said, projecting the same ruthless confidence that once made him the most feared man in boxing. Jake Paul, however, hasn't been intimidated. In response, he doubled down on his belief that Tyson's past reputation won't be enough in the present. He pointed out that every opponent who has tried to break him down has ended up on the losing side, and he fully expects that pattern to continue. But behind the bravado, concern continues to build. Critics and fighters alike have questioned whether Tyson's long absence from professional boxing, combined with his age and recent health issues, makes this comeback too dangerous. Some fear it could risk not just his legacy, but his well-being. UFC fighter Stephen "Wonderboy" Thompson voiced those concerns directly, warning that Tyson should not be taking unnecessary damage at this stage of his life, suggesting that the fight may be more about money than sport. Others echoed similar fears, urging Tyson protect the legacy he built rather than gamble it against a younger, active opponent. Still, Tyson remains defiant. Even after a recent ulcer flare-up forced adjustments to his training, he returned with renewed determination, promising fans he's preparing for a knockout finish. "I'm very prepared to knock out Jake Paul," Tyson stated, insisting that nothing has changed in his mindset. Joe Rogan also weighed in, acknowledging Tyson's legendary power, but questioning whether time has finally caught up with him. The concern is simple. Tyson at his peak was unstoppable, but Tyson today is facing an entirely different era of athlete, and that's where the tension now sits. Between hype and fear, legacy and risk, anticipation and doubt, the boxing world is left watching one question hang in the air. Is this the return of a legend, or the moment a legend is tested beyond what even time should allow?
Terrifying, you know. Even when I met him at one point backstage at a stadium at a fight, and I was like, I'm still terrified of you from watching you, you know. But then that guy he started becoming, where he became more explorative and he was looking into what, you know, the meaning of life and, you know, having a smoke every now and then and stuff like that, you know. I was like, I'm enjoying this, Mike. Yeah. You know, I'm liking the evolution. You know, what bothers me with this whole thing is that he's got to kind of, you know, slide back to that warrior.
Russell Crowe offered a more hopeful perspective on the matchup, focusing less on the drama and more on the fighters themselves. He emphasized that beyond the spectacle and the noise that usually surrounds fights like this, his biggest wish was simple: a clean contest where both men could showcase their skills without injury. For Crowe, the ideal outcome wasn't controversy or chaos. It was a moment of respect between two athletes from completely different worlds. Joe Rogan, known for not holding back his opinions, took a more grounded and skeptical stance. He acknowledged the undeniable appeal of the fight, the storyline, the clash of eras, the curiosity factor, but questioned whether reality could match the hype. In his view, the age gap alone introduces a level of unpredictability that can't be ignored. Rogan broke it down bluntly. Either Jake Paul is about to discover that even a 58-year-old Mike Tyson is still one of the most dangerous punchers in boxing history, or the fight will simply confirm what time always does, that no matter the legend, age eventually catches everyone. He also pointed out the uncomfortable truth surrounding Tyson's return. While the intensity, the training clips, and the old aura of Iron Mike still exist in flashes, they don't erase the biological reality of nearly 3 decades between the two fighters. For Rogan, that gap is not just a statistic, it's a defining factor of the entire matchup. As anticipation builds, so does uncertainty. Between Crowe's hope for a respectful contest and Rogan's warning about the physical realities of time, the fight sits in a strange space, half spectacle, half question mark. And that's what makes it so compelling and so unpredictable.
Year-old men are 58-year-old men, no matter what they look like.
Right.
And Jake Paul is a 28-year-old athlete in the prime of his life.
Yeah.
You know, it was a real...
I mean, if you just do it to yourself, right? Take,
Yeah.
you know, me at 60 versus me at 28.
Right.
Forget about it, man.
Yeah.
Jake Paul has quickly built a reputation that few expected this early in his boxing journey. Despite his short career, his explosive speed and real knockout power have forced the boxing world to take him seriously. Even Joe Rogan, often critical of crossover fighters, has acknowledged that Paul is no longer just a social media name, but a legitimate in-ring threat. One of Paul's most notable recent performances came against Mike Perry, a fighter who entered the bout riding a strong BKFC streak. Paul overwhelmed him with pressure, dropping him 3 times before securing a 6th-round stoppage. That performance added another layer to the debate. Is Jake Paul still improving rapidly enough to challenge elite-level names, or is he being carefully guided toward winnable fights? Rogan has repeatedly raised concerns about the key variable in the Tyson matchup: time. In his view, the real question isn't just skill, but whether a 58-year-old Tyson can sustain the pace, absorb punishment, and maintain intensity against a fighter who is currently in his physical prime. During a discussion with Russell Crowe, Rogan framed it as a clash of eras, asking whether experience and legendary power can realistically compete with youth momentum and modern conditioning. His argument was simple but uncomfortable. Boxing doesn't pause for legacy, and age eventually reshapes every fighter. At the same time, Rogan has given Jake Paul credit where it's due. He's pointed out Paul's growth, his knockout wins over former UFC fighters, and even praised a performance against Tommy Fury, calling a legitimate showing that proved he belongs in professional boxing conversations. Still, not everyone is convinced the Tyson fight is a smart step forward. Floyd Mayweather recently criticized the matchup, suggesting that calling out a legend like Tyson carries unnecessary risk and borders on recklessness. At the same time, he defended Tyson's right to fight, acknowledging his legendary status and the way he shaped generations of fighters. As opinions continue to split between admiration, concern, and skepticism, one thing is clear. This isn't just a fight being discussed as entertainment. It's a collision of eras, reputations, and unanswered questions. And that's exactly why the world can't stop watching.